Hi guys, Daz here today with a different kind of video. In recent times, I've really enjoyed hunting down signatures. Yeah, I love to get my books signed, and I know a lot of you out there love to do the same. Now, I found a really interesting article on the business side of signed comic books, and it's called Inside the Secret Business of Signed Comic Books. I'd like to share it with you. Comic books has been a friendly sort of business for a long time, and it's still friendly, but there's more business in it these days. One place the business aspect increasingly shines through is in creator signatures. Just a few scant years ago, most all creators would sign any number of comic books, de nada, free. The driving force in charging for signatures, as he was for so many things in comics, was the great man, of course, Stan Lee. Now, my boy Uncanny Ethan, he recently received a fantastic AOK from Comic Vantage. It was an early X-Men book, and it was signed by Stan Lee. Something we never thought we'd ever achieve. Can't thank him enough for that. Now, Stan goes on to say, I knew that if I was signing autographs for free at a show, there would be a line around the block, and I couldn't satisfy everybody. Lee said before he passed away in 2018. So I just started charging $5, really more to push people away. In the early days, not many people wanted to pay that. And sure enough, even in the early 2000s, Lee would charge $5 per autograph just to thin out the lines. But as soon as people got used to paying, $5 was no longer a hurdle. By 2004, he was at $15, which quickly jumped to $30, then $40, and then $55. By the end of his appearances, Lee's scale shifted a tad based on the venue, but he was usually at about $100 per signature, which is mind-blowing. Curiously, as late as 2010, Lee was still signing items that were sent unsolicited to his office for free. But the collector market has heated up. Today, many creators charge right from the jump, while others might give you one or two for free and start charging after that. I seem to find that the case. I met David Finch recently, and my first two signatures were free. But after that, he was charging £5, and that can add up. Now, I got my two books signed, and I did consider getting more, but I could use that money to buy comics while I was at the con, so that's what I decided to do. For me to pay for signatures, these artists are going to have to be major league. I usually give folks the first autograph for free, says Chaos Comics founder and current Coffin Comics principal Brian Pulido. If people come at me with an Evil Ernie 1 or a Lady Death 1 and they want that graded, for sure, I'm charging. But Pulido is also an old school fanboy himself, and sometimes lets the business face slip. I've been lax, he admits. I was at 2018's Dragon Con, and I forgot to bring my sign for what I was charging. And it just so happened that I got hit with what feels like every book in Atlanta that weekend, so I just signed everything for free. Pulido says that the sussing out of people who want something for their own collection versus looking to turn a buck is key. Largely, it felt like those people were authentic fans, he says, of the recent Dragon Con crowd. I don't know if those people would keep the books forever, but it felt like it kind of made their day, and it made my day. So as long as people aren't looking to monetize it, I can be pretty chill about signing. I think that's the case, isn't it? You don't want to see your signatures just going on just to be sold straight away for more money. You want it to be by the collector, Personally, I don't sell books. If I get a book signed, it's in my PC. Some people do, that's up to them. But if they're going to pay for the signature, that's probably up to them to do what they want to do. For collectors who aren't as chill, grading services such as Certified Guaranteed Company CGC and their signature series provide proof of authentic witness signatures starting at $30. We do things only on request, says Sam Peterson, CGC's signature series director. At a convention, some might come to our booth and say, I have these 3 books I want to get signed by Donny Cates and submitted for signature series. We send a witness from the booth, follow them over and see the signatures happen, and bring them back to our booth immediately to retain chain of custody and take those books in. The collector gets their books back, graded and encapsulated by CGC with a special label noting the date of the witness signature. There's one of my friends that wants to possibly go down that route and be a witness to signed books. You get paid for it. Why not? Most creators charge a fee for witnessed books. Their thought being that the grading company and their witness are getting paid, so why not me? A few, however, don't want to go down that path at all. There are some old school guys who don't believe in the concept of slabbing at all, and they don't want to sign for grading services, Peterson says. There's not much you can do there except respect their wishes and do your best to work with them in the future. But there's no friction for the majority of artists and writers. We have a good working relationship with most people and do private signings with guys like Jim Lee, Robert Kirkman, J. Scott Campbell all the time. CGC is the established player in grading and authentication, and in 2014 was joined in the marketplace by competitor Comic Book Certification Service CBCS. Now CBCS brought an interesting wrinkle: authentic signature service for new autographs. The company can actually witness, and verified signature service for autographs the company has not witnessed. CBCS uses 5 authentication experts and their verified program, including Patrick Conway. We all come from an autograph memorabilia business, so we've been getting autographs, buying and selling autographs for years, Conway says. And in my case, 20 years. It's been every day of my life. In a year and a half of working with CBCS, Conway has already verified thousands of autographs. He was not there to witness, but he uses tools of his own witnessing. Conway also has 4 terabyte hard drives with pictures of autographs he obtained in person dating back decades. That's interesting. I've seen so much with so much repetition on the high volume guys: J. Scott Campbell, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, Jim Lee. It's almost automatic, he says, but I have the luxury of going to my visual files as well. I will double check, go against those files wherever needed. CBCS obtains copies of signatures from creators across different timeframes and looks for consistencies when verifying older autographs. They have verified books signed by creators before grading and slabbing ever began, such as Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby. Now, personally, I love this. I'd love, for me personally, because I have not had my books witnessed, I'd love to be able to send them off and have them verified and come back. Why CGC aren't doing this, I don't really know. Sam Peterson says that the CGC is sticking to live and witnessed in person only, at least for now. I think the strength of our label right now is that it's a real guaranteed signature, Peterson says, but it's hard to say. It might be the only table in the future, but currently it's not something I'm not thinking about. The volume, however, is there. According to cgcdata.com, the CGC's own public census, of the 4 million plus books CGC has graded, 670,432 have signature series labels, as of me telling you. And Conway agrees with Peterson in the creator friction is minimal. There's not much blowback, Conway says. People see that we're making money, but we're also protecting the interests of the market. We can send a witness so that the buyers will know it's authentic, and creators can sell authentic signatures. We don't really get blowback now. But there are certain things certain people won't sign. Most creators won't sign books they did not work on. Now, Watchmen co-creator Dave Gibbons will not sign spin-offs before Watchmen and Doomsday Clock. It's less of a strand of principle and more of practicality. It's simple, Gibbons says. I don't sign items that don't have my work in them. Brian Peludo may have created the Chaos Comics characters, but many of those are now published by Dynamite Entertainment, and Peludo declines to sign those. Dan Jurgens gives a little more leeway. As for things I didn't draw or write directly, it happens. And with Death of Superman stuff, Jurgen says, I might not have written or drawn a particular issue that Louis Simonson or John Bogdanov did, but we're something of a band, and all in the room when we put the story together, so I usually sign. It's a bit weird, but I usually do it. Now, I've taken books before, because I did research, and I've taken a book and the artist was about to sign it and then realised he didn't work in it. Sometimes even when their name's inside, so kind of like an error book. Jurgens is also careful to not engage in crazy personalizations. It may not seem like a big deal, but hey, there's a Brett Favre cameo fiasco in which Favre gave a shout out to a white supremacists using anti-Semitic language. People have come up and said, this is from my buddy Matt. Can you make it out to the biggest douchebag in the world, Matt? Jurgens says. I'm usually like, let's not go there. I don't sign anything that way, but I seem to get stuff like that once at every con. And it's more than just creator signing. As comic book movies have started to rule the roost and actors have found out there's a gold in the Comic Con hills, actors have become comic signings targets to a certain degree. Now, I've got a con coming up. I'm meeting 2 of the Umbrella Academy cast. I'm thinking of getting an Umbrella Academy book for them to sign. But part of me only wants to get artists and creators. I don't know what to do. I have picked up actors to sign books before, but only if it's a movie adaptation. I'm still not sure. What are your thoughts on that? Celebrities don't have the need for as much as artists and writers do, CGC's Peterson says. People will get their photos with them, or Chris Helmsworth on a Thor hammer, or Chris Evans on a cap shield. Props get signed a lot by celebrities, but we do a few comic books signed by them as well. And at the end of the day, that's what blows Peterson's hair back. There was an autographed Incredible Hulk 181 in 9.8 that I had to crack out to add a signature once, he said. It had already been signed by Len Wein and Herb Trimpe. I was doing it after they had both passed away, so it was an unusual situation. But someone wanted to get it signed by Stan Lee as well. It was the only time I have ever been nervous cracking out a book, but it came back fine. 9.8 after it all as well. So, a really fascinating article, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I find it really interesting. It's not going to put me off getting books. I'm going to get my books signed, whether they're witnessed or not. That's Dad's over now. Bye for now.